So what are you doing?
Filing this into like a cylinder with a point here.
And what are you gonna make with it?
A Pinewood derby car.
Kind of like one of these.
Yeah, basically.
What's it gonna be?
A Bullet Bill.
Bullet Bill. All right.
From Mario Kart.
Oh. Cool. One of the things you have to do is these are the axles and for the wheels, right, to roll on, and they would go on the side of the block where the car is. Well, I'll probably take some close-up pictures, but let's see here. There's little ridges on the nail there that you have to file down, and there's really no good way to do it except unless you hook it up to a drill press or a drill or something. So that's what I'm going to do. Now you don't want to take too much material off, but you do want to get those burrs off of there, because what'll happen is those burrs will tear into the wheel and slow it down. And then after this, what I'm going to do is I want to polish up the axle really good. There's still a little bit left on the head there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to polish these up real good and get the burrs off, and I'll show you the finished product. I'm going to start off with some aluminum oxide pad. Sometimes they call them Scotch-Brite pads or anything. But this is just like a Brillo pad with some aluminum oxide impregnated, and I'm just going to turn the drill on and then hold this against here to try to start getting it polished up without taking too much material off. Alright, now that I've got as much of the burr off as possible, I'm going to and polished up just a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and polish it up a little more with some auto body rubbing compound on a little strip of material here, and hopefully I can get some more burrs and really slick it up. You want it to be almost a mirror finish. Well, you want it to be a mirror finish if at all possible. You can see the cloth is black from the material removed, but you can see that also it hasn't it still hasn't polished up mirror finish yet. It's pretty good now, but it's hard to tell from video, but you need to be even a higher polish than that. So it usually takes about 2-3 minutes up to 5-10 minutes to really get it to a mirror shine. So I'm going to do that off camera. Now I'm going to finish off with a little brass polisher just to get that last part of the way shiny. From my understanding, this has just very little abrasive in it. It's more of a like a tarnish polish, but we'll see. We'll see what it does. The shiny part there, let me get it in a good light. See how it's shiny versus the dull part towards the pointy end. That's how you want all the axles to look to reduce the friction. And then what we're going to do is, after we install these axles, we're going to want to put some dry graphite powder in there to slick it up just a little bit more. And these things will move. And I'll show you the trick. Actually, I'll go ahead and show you now in case I forget. Let me show you what I'm talking about as far as the difference between lubed and unlubed. This is has been polished and it's unlubed, so when I spin it, I'm going to count real fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So only turns for about a 10 count. Now this one has had graphite hobby lube in it, and what you want to do is you want to put it in right here. And what hobby lube is just graphite, and I'll show you how long this one spins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So about 26. So twice as long, maybe twice and a half as long as the unlubed. So That's what you want to go for after you polish your axles and lube it up to make sure. Now after you lube it up and polish and lube it up, if you don't get at least a 20 count or 21 count, then you need to polish it up some more because you still got a lot of friction going on.
Why are you videoing back there of me?
Car's ready to paint, but before we do that, we got to weigh it. So you don't have to get a scale, but it really helps. These are about $40, and depending on if your son is just starting out or if it's just the last couple of years, it may not be worth it. But if you find somebody with a scale, this is just a postal scale, as you can see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the pieces on there, and you can't be more than 5 ounces. It has to be 5 ounces or under. So of course the closest to 5 ounces you can get, the better. So I'm at 4.8, and what I'm gonna do, oh wait, I got two more wheels.
What about the arms?
Well, so it's right at 5 ounces. So what we can do is after we weigh it, we can check it again to make sure that we don't go over, but it's dead on. Well, we painted it, and we got the stickers on it, and this is what the Pinewood Derby car is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to set the wheels. Now there's several different ways you can mount the wheels, but just to get them started, what I do, of course, it's nice and painted now, so you want to use a washcloth or something to protect the finish. But just slip the axle into the wheel there and line it up in that groove. And what I do is I point it towards the groove and just hold it with the hold it steady with the wheel. Now notice I'm holding the hammer choked up because you don't want to really bang it in, you want to tap it in there. You're going to wiggle it. You don't want it to be snug. You just want it in there. Now, the kind of rule of thumb is, actually rule of finger, is get your fingernail, if you can get your fingernail in between the body of the car and the wheel, that's as close as you want it. You don't want it any closer than that, because if it's too far away, it'll wobble, and if it's too snug, obviously it won't turn. But there you go. Now to do the other side, it's the exact same process. Put the axle on the wheel, point it towards the groove, and just start tapping. Don't worry about the other side, because the nail is going to go as far as it's gone as far as it can go. So just bumping up on the wheel is not going to affect it. So just go ahead and tap. Alright, so you got all the 4 wheels on there and they're spaced properly, and I'm going to tweak it some more, but let me show you something. If you notice, the wheels, the front wheels are kind of pointed in a little bit, and the back ones are straight, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt them in like this. And what that does, it makes the car ride on the outer edges of the wheels, kind of like walking on the edges of your shoes. And what that does, it creates less of a surface area that's riding on the track, so that reduces friction. See, the front ones are already tilted in a little bit. It's kind of hard to see, but you want all the wheels to point inward. Now that's for a straight body car. What I've got here is an old car I built for a competition and you see the wheels are pointed away. This is actually more ideal because what happens is as the wheels are turning, they're gonna want to go outwards away from the car, and the wheels are only rubbing against the head of the nail. So that's even less friction than rubbing on this side, the body of the car. So ideally, if you build a car, this actually won the race the year I raced it. So ideally, you want the wheels pointed, kind of tilted outwards from the bottom out. But if you're going to make a straight-bodied car, you want to toe them inwards. And here's another trick. I'll show you just a second. Okay, it took some doing, but what I did was I towed in all the wheels. You can see it. They're all kind of pigeon-toed in. But here's the trick. You see this? You want it to ride on 3 wheels. So you want to make sure that when you get all the wheels set, towed in, that one wheel is not touching the ground. I remember the very first race I had with my older son. I was setting the cars up on the track, and some of the cars I thought were kind of goofed up. They were, you know, of course kids were building it, so I was like, oh, they didn't set their wheels right. All 4 wheels weren't touching. Well, come to find out, those were the cars that were the fastest. So those are just the little tricks of the trade. There's no rule that says all 4 wheels have to touch the track, so that is kind of a, I wouldn't say it's a cheat, but that's available. Polishing the axles and using the graphite lube to make it spin for at least a 20 count. A couple other things I wanted to mention was, once you get your wheel set, get some super glue, and this is just cheap super glue from Walmart or your dollar store or something, not the gel kind, the runny kind, and put it on the axles so they don't move, because what's going to happen is, and make sure that they still spin. You don't want the glue getting on the axles, obviously, so you want to keep it upside down and keep it from running into the actual wheel. Because what has happened to me is I didn't glue the axles, and just through running and handling, the wheels will fall off. And then after the glue dries, get you some hobby lube, showed you the graphite, and load up the wheels and spin them. Because what that does, it fills in all the voids in the axle and the wheel, and each wheel is matched to that axle. So if you have to reset the wheels, make sure the wheels and the axle stay the same. And then just spin them. Keep spinning them, load them up with the hobby lube, spin them until you get that 20, and if you can get it up to a 30 count, that's even better. But I'll show you this one. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 30. So you can see it's still spinning a good ways because I've loaded it up with the hobby lube, and that's the way you want your wheels to work, because it's going to rub up against the body, and you need to fill every crevice you can with the hobby lube and make it as slick as possible. And then usually when you go to a race, they'll lube them up again. The other thing is, you notice there's a big hole here. This is the front of the car, so I drilled as much material out of the front as I can, and I loaded the back with the weight, because as long as it's 5 ounces, you're good. But the weight distribution, it's important to get as much weight in the back as possible. Now, some websites will tell you about three quarters of the way back is where you want the balance point. So I don't know. I just took as much material out of the front as I dared to, and it's just kind of an eyeball thing. But there's really no set rule about that. But just know that you want more weight in the back than the front, and it's a physics thing. I'm not going to get into it right now, but trust me, you want the weight in the back. If you're going to load, if you need more weight on your car, whatever you do, try to get it in the back as much as possible. Now, not so much that the front will skip. That's why there's kind of a rule of thumb about 3/4 of the way back. But anyway, those are the last few hints I've got about building your car to make it as successful as possible. It'll probably be another couple weeks before we race, so I'll post some videos of that when that happens. But that's pretty much it. Kind of the bare bones, quick tips on how to build a decent, winnable Pinewood Derby car. See you later.